Hello and welcome to Building Your T-Shirt Empire. My name's Cole, and with me, as always, is Gavin. This week we have a great guest. It's Rich Santo from Culture Studio. Rich, could you just give the people a quick rundown of what Culture Studio is today?
Yeah, no problem. Thanks a lot for having me on. Culture Studio is, simply a merchandise company. We build a platform for artists and entertainment to make merch at scale. That platform consists of a proprietary piece of technology that does pretty much all enterprise resource planning, order management, capacity planning and scheduling, shipping and logistics, and then, in combination with our, physical assets, which is 135,000 square feet of production floor in Chicago and Daytona Beach, Florida, which is our newest location.
That is such a massive amount of floor space. Are you running double shifts or triple shifts?
Yeah, so both locations run 22 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Oh my God.
So they never ever close. Carlos says we're open like 7-Eleven. You just can't get a Slurpee here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're closed for 2 hours, just to perform maintenance, which is, Cole, as you know, is super challenging, especially when those dryers are running all day, every single day. They just never have time to cool. There's oil dripping from them. It's like you open up so many more problems that I think just running them for 8 hours a day, you usually wouldn't get. I really don't know if, any of that equipment is really built to never stop running. So yeah, it's, certainly has its challenges in a whole, but I think we're just getting started. So, the way we look at, everything that we're doing is, really at a level of scale and, trying to upgrade and consider ourselves a real factory that does logistics all over the country. And, once we build out that infrastructure, then, you can just keep building on top and on top. But, it certainly doesn't happen overnight.
I mean, speaking of it not happening overnight, how did you find yourself at this point? Did you really aggressively invest in and kind of go field of dreams and figure that if the capacity was there, you could fill it? Or were you always building because the customers demanded more and more production? Yeah,
we've never built it and hoped they would come. We have always reacted to the demand. Sometimes very, very quickly. And, we've made, I would say, some brass decisions along the way that could be questionable, but have certainly panned out. But, when we decided to break our lease when we were in 9,000 square feet and move to 50,000 square feet, we didn't do that in hopes that, the business would come. We were running the doors off of that facility and we had to move and we had to add machinery. And that's actually the place where we're at right now. We're right now and right in the middle of an additional facility in Chicago that would add 120,000 square feet to the 135 that we have currently. And so we would keep this one, rocking and rolling and add on top of that. But, again, we're doing that to try and relieve some of the demand and be able to service in the right way. I don't necessarily know if we always want to run 22 hours a day. I think, sticking with just 2 shifts would be far more enjoyable, in just in a whole as an organization. But, we exist to meet our customers' demands. And so we'll do anything, whatever it takes.
And while you've been doing this building, how were you acquiring this level of customer? Because so many people, they would be thrilled to have 1 or 2 of some of the artists that you guys work with. And that would be like their entire business. They'd be dedicated to it. How is it that you've been able to meet and actually succeed in sales with these people and not just be stuck at a level of maybe a 4 auto shop, something like that? What was that breakthrough in sales?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's necessarily like one single, breakthrough. I think it's, we're at this 14 years now, and it's like, quality and consistency and being humble every step of the way. So, like I think this is just like layers and layers of the cake, over and over again, where, we're asked to do something that, oftentimes is the unthinkable, and we humbly go at the opportunity and get it done and do a great job, and then ask for another one. I don't think, like, the word no doesn't really exist in our vocabulary. Where we're always yes. Sometimes there's a yes and when, or yes and this might be required, but otherwise it's just the long road of being asked to do something and stepping up and fulfilling the request.
And so with the staff, I mean, bringing them on so that they have that same attitude, and also for them to have a skill set. I'm sure that bringing on, I'm not sure what your staff's at now, like 200 plus.
Yeah.
With that many people, how are you bringing them on, training them properly, and getting them not only the skills, but the attitude to deliver?
Yeah, I mean, we chose this name, this first word in our company name, not like we didn't like roll the dice or anything like that. We knew early on that making t-shirts would be really, really cool, especially if it was like, a high profile opportunity. But at the end of the day, it would start to look exactly like the peanut factory that's next door to us. It's like this manufacturing. And so, it can get monotonous. And so for that, we build a very, very strong culture. And, very often people, when they step on to the stage with us, they do not fit, because this is a championship team. And if you're not interested in doing what it takes to play on a championship team, then you're quickly removed from the stage. And so, I think choosing and sticking to, that culture, which is even harder when you have multiple facilities. I will definitely humbly say that is very challenging, when the culture is so great here. But it just forces us to continue to choose people that fit and choose people that, are like-minded. And that's how it keeps the ball rolling,
Yeah. And when you're choosing the equipment to run at this sort of capacity, what has your mindset been there? Is it just brand loyalty because you end up being such a good client for them that their tech support is going to be phenomenal? Or have you kind of hopped back and forth between the big creators to see what you think is actually the best piece of equipment? Yeah,
I think we are in M&R's backyard, when it comes to being in Chicago, and we have some pretty deep roots with them. So, what was important to us as we continue to scale and we continue to build multiple factories all over the country is that you have to have consistency. We even in the darkroom, we made some questionable choices when we went out, to Daytona and filled the darkroom. And if you have different machinery in your same factories that are under one flag, or under one jersey, and that product starts to look ever so slightly different, you're not built for scale. And so, that's our intention, is to be built for scale and, be able to put our thumbprint on a product and people know that it's coming from us. As decorators or as, factories, we don't get the opportunity to put our brand on the front of, the item that we're making, right? Like you would know us from the experience, and you would know us from the thumbprint that comes on that decoration. So, that is our branding. And so for that, it must be consistent across the board.
And so with that consistency, can you get real into the details and maybe walk me through an order flow? Like I'm X huge artist. I need 36,000 units at this location in 4 days. Can you walk me through the departments and even the software processes that you're using to keep that managed?
Yeah, I mean, we call it the Culture Studio platform. We do make a side, a separate code base called Stock Up that, we've had a couple shops use. That's, very, very in line with the total process, but completely different in functionality. There's so much that, Culture Studio does that I think is so unorthodox, or wouldn't be necessarily something we'd want to build into a platform that would be sold to anybody else, because it's just like so niche. But the order is intaken from the account management team, and then the platform takes over from there. We have garment securing that happens, and then the order goes into the schedule. At inside the schedule, that's when we use an algorithm to decide where is the end location, where is it shipping, and where do we have the capacity, and then puts it directly onto a machine. So
it's literally assigning not just a building and a time of day, but it's saying machine 4 at 2 p.m. will begin this specific job. So there is there's no supervisor deciding to split things up among the crew. The algorithm is managing that for you.
Yeah, as well, we have had, I personally have had, the blessing of, being born into, family of, just incredible decorators and screen printers since they were kids. My youngest brother, Joey, has been, doing this since he was, a little kid. And, he really is the wizard behind, making sure that the platform is doing its job correctly. And so, I'm not going to say that it just is a completely automated process. It's putting it where it thinks it needs to go. And then you have that skill set with Joey, who comes in and says, no, I could actually change the run rate on this one. And then this one isn't, the platform says it's going to run from 7 a.m. to 3:30, but Joey can come in and say, no, I know that we can turn the speed up and get that one done at 1 o'clock. And so for that next job can bump up and move in. And so, then the garment product is ordered, to that facility. The files are dumped into the CTS systems. Screens are burned or digitizing is done. Product meets press, and it's on to packing, and packing and shipping then does that job through the platform, printing the carton labels, printing the shipping labels, and it's on to the next one.
And I'm sure Gavin will have some insight into, or how he likes to manage artwork. And you guys are doing such a massive amount of it that you need to not only separate, but do mock-up approvals and sizing and placement and all these little things that are ultimately just a lot of emails typically. How do you manage that order flow with the artwork so that you don't just get hung up on somebody not approving for 24 hours or whatever it is?
Yeah, I mean, what I'll say, the majority of our clients, are pretty sophisticated. So, we're always trying to build things. We actually just released a digitized process on art approvals and photo approvals, rather than attaching them to an email. The platform handles that. So, an artist simply uploads the SEPs, uploads the mock-ups, and the platform takes over. But, with all that said, I think because as an organization, we consider ourselves a technology company first. We're also ultra high touch because of that. This is manufacturing, and oftentimes you need to pick up the phone or text. We try to be really, really close with our clients. Build a really strong relationship with them, and so if there's something that's hung up, we're on it immediately.
And so, being high touch like that, is it a thing where you end up having account managers assigned to individual clients who then are contacting production? Or do you have kind of like a mass of people that can jump in at any moment, kind of like a customer service line?
Yeah, the nucleus is account management. We don't really do, from our perspective, any customer service at all. These are reoccurring revenue accounts. We're barely ever doing a one-off with a client. I think where we don't compete in any way, shape, or form is for, the the brand or the promo products company, or, like I know like the ASI industry is like, everything is kind of automated on their end too. And like, you place the order on the website and then the art approval comes and you never have to talk to anybody. We're the polar opposite of that. Even though we're very tech focused on how the order is routed, we're extremely high touch on the account management side.
Interesting. So we spoke with Rum not too long ago from Supercolor, and he was saying that they've had projects where they've done like 1 million transfers for one individual client. When they're hitting those sorts of crazy numbers in the transfer game, have you been implementing transfers into your system, or are you pretty much exclusively screen printing with like a touch of DTG?
Yeah, no, we would do pretty sizable transfer stuff. I think, we bought the country out of transfer machines last year.
Wow.
I mean, we've got like 60 of them or something like that between our locations. But, the only thing that I will say when it comes to our industry is that fad does roll up and down. I mean, I know, for great brands like Supercolor, they have thousands and thousands of clients. And so they can continue to climb. But, for our industry, it ebbs and flows, which makes it, a little more complicated to try and figure that production out when it's kind of, constantly up and down. But, when we're doing conceptual, I like transfers from many, many different types of fabrics and, many styles and designs, and, just like the look I'm going for. Often a transfer can really do that better than screen printing. So, I'm a big fan.
And so with those machines that you bought, what brand did you end up going with for all the production?
All of them.
All of them? Well, you just kept testing what you liked and didn't like, or
no? We just literally bought anything that we could get our hands on.
Oh, okay.
If I walk back there, Joey's got every single brand that is imaginable. I mean, we can have a museum of them here.
So what does the print process look like without just a whole bunch of proprietary softwares for running as, different styles of rips? How are you sending the art to these different brands of printers without it becoming a headache?
No, I was talking about the transfer machines. As far as the CTSs go, we're using all of the same for that.
Okay. But the transfer machines, you're basically just sending PNGs to, and then they rip it themselves?
No, these are just heat presses. Yeah.
Heat presses.
Transfers, we would do them with Supercolor. Yeah, we're not in that business.
Got it. Yeah, I was confused. I thought you were actually creating the transfers. Got it. So Supercolor is doing all your stuff.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. So in the world of managing this many people and hiring them, I'd love to know what your team looks for in a hire. What is your interview process like so that you can actually find someone, especially in small businesses? People have a really hard time finding anyone who isn't just, the guy willing to work for you. That's normally the issue with the small business is a lot of people don't even apply. So what kind of separates your hiring process from just saying like, hey, will you show up on time?
Yeah, another thing that I've been very blessed with is, some team members that came on super early, like Annabelle, who leads our, team member services department. She was very early on board, she's 10 years now, something like that. And so she's been with us from the start. She knows the culture. And, something else I think that is unique to us that like HR oftentimes gets like the, I guess you'd say like the impression that HR does the like, oh, this person doesn't like that person, right? Mm-hmm. Or like, oh, this person doesn't want to work with this person, or, he or she looked at that person, incorrectly. We don't do that here. This is a business. We're playing to win here. And nothing like that, and Annabelle and the team here has always laid the foundation for that. That like, you're a professional. When you come here, you're going to be a professional. We don't entertain the classic HR things of like drama between, whatever.
Right.
And that goes all the way back with, culture fit. If we can find ourselves a culture fit, then we have certifications and training departments and standard operating procedures and an operating manual. And luckily, we're just making t-shirts over here. We're not doing heart surgery. We don't need to hire Yale graduates. We just need good people that, that are willing to learn, and we can teach them from there and have grit and tenacity. And we've got ourselves a winner. So that's how we do that. Like that's what we're looking for. We look at skills last. Maybe the engineering department, the art department, okay, you gotta have some formal training around, the Adobe suite. We're not going to try and train that from the start. But otherwise, anything else, including press operating, we prefer no experience on the press. Because the beauty with no experience on the press is that we can bring you in a fresh, clean slate and teach you the right way, rather than all those years of bad practice, that we have to try and claw back.
Yeah.
So the last thing that you said was was going through my mind the whole time you was talking, is building a massive team like this. Like, one thing I appreciate what you say is that you were super intentional about, one, the name of your company being Culture Studio, and intentional about building your culture, right? Because just in my past life running like a big business, that's what it comes down to. Like, it's really your reputation that's really going to run the business, and that's the culture, right? So I'm curious to know specifically, you mentioned a few just right now, like what are some of the things that you do to create this almost invisible hand to run this business for you, right? Like, what are some management things or leadership things that you guys are doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think we do all the classic things, and my job, solely, as far as of course, the buck stops with me, and I get always down in the dirt. I live in the dirt. So if we had all the water in Daytona was shut off by the city, and so all the toilets and the washout booths all of a sudden were yellow, right? I'm on that immediately. I'm getting my team to call the plumbing department, seeing what we have to do. The buck stops with me. If there's ever, a significant issue of any sort, I'm jumping right in. But then I'm all the way up at, the top on what is the vision of the organization. Mm-hmm. And then in line with the vision are our principles. And the principles are the tools that we are able to give our team so that they can be us at mm-hmm. scale. And, we talk about having a championship team, I have them actually right on my wall right here, because I actually pull them off like a hammer or a screwdriver. And I say hey, there's this piece of engineering, that we need to do, and we're going to make it have 1,000,001 features. And I was like, no, we need to simplify it. And then, something else that, Jordan is another engineer here that he really has a skill set that I do not have, which is he's an incredible teacher. I lack the ability to communicate something that I've been thinking about for 3 years to somebody that has never heard it before. He's really good at this. And so he'll come in and tell me technically why we should be doing this in this way. For example, we're going to pull all these API products and then display them in a catalog. And we could do pagination, or we could do auto load, or we could do click to load, for example. And then he's going to tell me why technically these are all better. And I ask him that same question over and over again. Well, how is it ought to be? And that's a Steve Jobs quote. You tell me how it ought to be, how should it work? How is it intuitive? My 4-year-old uses an iPad I mean, she actually been FaceTiming me the whole time I've been on. But like the fact that a 4-year-old could use an iPad and FaceTime and has the most powerful device in her hand, and she knows how to wield it like a Ferrari is just incredible. And so, we have all these tools that I could just use myself, and then my team starts to look just like that. Now, I've found that every single organization looks just like its leader. Every team looks just like its leader. Funny enough, even the decor, you know what I mean? Like if you go into somebody's business, if they're in HR or if they're in logistics, it doesn't really matter what they're in, how they carry themselves even comes out in the decor of the organization, like of this physical space. And so that's why we build those tools, so that we intentionally set the principles of the organization and how it is that we want to run. And oftentimes they don't fit everybody. That's for sure. Like we're very much okay with turnover, and we're very much okay with people choosing not to choose us. And even in the interview process that, we're hiring, we have a job board, I don't even know, 50 jobs on it or something like that. And we're very much confident that people do not have to choose us, because there's easier places to work. That's for darn sure, and there's tons of work-life balance and all kinds of stuff that is top of mind for many people. And, for that, I'm glad to introduce them to some awesome companies that I know of, and they've had great, beautiful careers. But if you choose this one, it's going to be hard, and that's expected.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Go ahead, Gavin.
Yeah, like for you, right? Because you want to be a champion. You're building a big business, and you're leading this. Like, why'd you choose to go this way? Like, because let's say $1 million business is good enough for most people, right? Like, that's why decide to have a multi-million-dollar business and work with the biggest brand. What is it that's like? Why do you want that? Like, I'm just kind of curious. Yeah.
I mean, my brothers, Nick, Joe, and Carlo, and I, when we started the organization, we knew that we wanted to swing for the fences, and I thought we all have an immense competitive, side to us. And, also, we're the get it done. May I take another? We'll take care of it, guys, too. We come from hospitality. We did a long, 10 years in the hospitality world. And so, I think we learned a lot from that. And so we married the two together. We married our passion for making products, and making lasting products and beautiful, we call them collectibles, right? And then we married that with, our deep knowledge in serving people. And so, that allowed us to get to a place where we felt confident enough that we can build something, really spectacular. We went to the 6th, digit, and then we go to the 7th and to the 8th, and, and we want to keep going. And I think, we also get the opportunity to work as family, and now 200 and, something high 200s family, the slogan internally here is that, we recruit like a championship team. And then once you're on the team, we treat you like family. And so, that's just been a pleasure. It's been hard as hell, but it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'd like to get back a little bit to the APIs. The issue that I've always seen is when I offer a full catalog to the customers, we have a lot of confusion about, what the right choice is. And a lot of times there isn't necessarily a right choice. It's just what's your price point and what are you going for? With you integrating, I don't know if you're integrating directly with distributors or if you're doing it with mills directly. But how do you kind of choose a line to offer the clients without overwhelming them with literally thousands and thousands of options?
Yeah, I mean, we have an API into all of them. Anybody who sells Anybody who has one, we're pulling it in. But it's our job on the creative side. And when we build line sheets out, we're making the decisions.
Okay.
I always try to inspire our teams that, we're the professionals. We do this for a living. They don't, in many cases, they sing or they're a creator or whatever the case may be. And so, when we make a line sheet, we're making it with the product. This is the one that we're suggesting. And then if it's like, oh, I want Garmin dye, oh, I want to be more cost effective, then we'll make that change. But, that catalog only exists for our internal team, as well as for the client to get ideas. Let's search for, Garmin dye. Let's search for drop shoulder. Let's search for something that they're looking for. But then when it comes to building that out, I give one option. I will try to empower the client to push back rather than have analysis paralysis.
And do you do that with the actual artwork too? Are you doing a lot of the creation?
Yep. Yeah. We're doing a ton of creation. We're doing, complete line sheets, and, we're choosing that product for them. We're first off, you have to understand the client. Sometimes I think the analysis comes from you literally don't know the client. And so, if you don't know the client, then you have to ask the question, or you have to say, here, go search. But for what we do, we really try to understand, okay, what is the client? What are their intentions? What are they looking for? And then we say, this is the one.
And so when you're putting that much upfront work into a client, how do you approach that? Obviously there's some people that will start small and grow. So you're not trying to alienate necessarily a small customer, but you don't want to invest too much upfront time in a smaller run. How do you guys balance that? Since it does seem like the sales time commits quite a bit to art and to like just general label creation.
Yeah, we try to keep it simple on that front too. Like if we can, we're doing something for a restaurant, a celebrity that has a restaurant here in Chicago. So we met with them, we enjoyed it, we had dinner with them, and then we said like, okay, tell us about the product line. They're like, okay, we want to do like something high end, something like that has like the luster of what the masters did. And, we have that conversation. It doesn't have to, sometimes it's only a couple sentences that you need to draw out. Mm-hmm. And then we're saying, okay, this is the product, and look at it, beautifully designed on the actual physical product that you're going to get. And then we're saying like, okay, this is the one you want to go with.
And so do you do a lot of physical sampling as well, or are you normally doing it digitally to get approval?
Yeah. I mean, everything's digital. Oftentimes people want to come to one of our facilities and like touchy-feely things, and we're like, it's so hard, like we got a couple racks here and stuff, but like we're not a t-shirt deli, if we can't communicate with a high res image, then we'll ship you a bunch of samples if you really want to feel it.
Interesting. Yeah, we have so many people that want to touch t-shirts and they don't believe that it's already a really high successful like selling shirt. It's interesting how everybody has an opinion on shirts, but they don't know the specifics. So it's good to just act like the professional. I like that attitude. So going into this entire workflow and the software, at this point, how much do you think you've invested building out the software? I mean, it seems like it must have been a massive cost to create such an amazing in-house production flow. Yeah.
Fun fact that I've mentioned a couple times is we have more money in software than we do in actual physical machinery.
That's wild.
And it's definitely wild because, the beauty of I think we have one auto that is a Challenger 2, I think it is. And it's got millions of impressions on it. Actually, I think Joey continues to run it just to like Kramer in that Seinfeld where he keeps driving the car to see if the gas goes out, to be honest with you, if you walk by it, you couldn't really tell because we have an incredible maintenance team here and we really take care of stuff, on the floor. But, the beauty of a machine is you buy it once and it runs forever. Not so much with software, especially if you want to keep building and advancing. It is a never ending sucking of physical cash. But with that said, Oscar and his team, all the engineers are a pleasure as well. And really, like, one of my passions is just building products, whether they're in physical or the digital, format. And so not many people think it's that cool. Like, especially most of our team, like, we'll build something, we'll build like a feature or something, and we'll roll it out and we'll be like, it's just like, no one gives a shit,
Right.
you just like, everybody's like, wow, invoices are automated.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And we're like, yeah, but like, we just saved thousands of hours, like man hours to, that we automate every single invoice, at 11 o'clock, all the invoices send out to all the clients right at once. It's such a huge, cool thing to do, but
yeah.
Great.
With those automations, have you found any way to implement some of the AI tools as a way to improve your flow, or have you still had to like code it directly and you haven't really been able to use the AI tools yet?
Yeah, we're getting there. We've got a Slack channel just filled. Oscar and I and the rest of the team, Jordan, we're always trying to come up with how can we, I think we're going to probably start on the art side. Hopefully we can start getting, some mock-ups put together, automated, try to automate the colors to be, input into the press instructions and stuff like that. But
very cool.
It's definitely coming, this building stuff like that is just so expensive. We're enjoying how to use it. We've been, solving problems with AI and stuff like that. I mean, even for myself personally, just if I have a question, chat helps me out fix anything. I mean, a freaking Nest thermostat, how do I reset a Nest thermostat? And it tells you, without having to click all over the place. So I think it's coming, and it's coming to our industry. It's just, we're, usually a little bit behind.
Yeah. And do you think that that's going to affect, since you have more account managers and not just, kind of faceless customer service, do you think that'll be on the sales side with, automated responses? Or do you think you really need that human touch to remain critical to the relationship?
Yeah, like something, on the AI side that we've been looking at for quite some time is an OCR, an optical character reader. So, taking a purchase order, scanning it, and then putting it into the cells that we need it to be in. If you use like bill.com or anything like that, once you tell it where to go, it machine learns that structure forever. And so we're looking at, doing stuff like that, but, quite honestly, still pretty far out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very interesting to play with. Gavin, what are your thoughts on kind of AI and especially what he's talking about with the mock-up creation and the art production?
Yeah, I mean, definitely is a game changer. I think whoever could get to that first in this industry has something very valuable, right? So we've played around with a few things, like we did like an internal quality control to like compare artwork together, like to see what the different clicks was and what was the modification. Came out okay, not like production ready, but it's like a little thing that we're playing around with. But definitely if you could get mock-up done in an automated way, or you could generate the mock-up like using live art, and it could study the art, pull the colors, label it properly, use your own branding, like your own like color stocks and all that stuff. That piece will be major. Obviously it's in our minds. It's in my mind, so I'm heavily thinking about that. But cost is a major obstacle. Like cost to build something out like this is crazy. And also on the production file thing, I think for us, I think I want to leave that like human base where a human does that, but it could be fun to see where, I mean, even now you could do a lot of scripts anyway inside of like the Adobe products, and the scripts will like save a lot of time already. Like we got a couple of scripts that we play with, but maybe just using the native Adobe generative stuff that they have could be just sufficient enough for most people. But I think the AI will be a game changer on the art part of things and the industry. Definitely in the sales, like just sales development, and just imagine that you could like shorten your sales cycle, or you could even remove somebody from sales by the AI just like doing research for you, like doing like a summary of a call, right? Like, cause that's like just tedious. After you have that meeting, you have to sit down and just like recap everything and send it out. That could save you like hours and hours. So there's major thing that could come in the sales side. And I know Cole, you've been playing around with Zapier for customer service and for like intake. So yeah, that's a lot of opportunities.
Our platform tells us when a job should start and when it should stop. And outside of that, we do not get in the weeds at all. We prefer to focus on quality. We prefer to focus on, especially in Florida, it is hot as hell. I mean, some days it is just unbearable. So, we have had, parts of our careers where we're so focused on volume and we're so focused on pinning presses up against each other and everything. And I think, we've matured to a level where if you're on the team, especially if you're running a press, you're top notch. And we don't micromanage people at all. If we see a job is past where it's supposed to, then it's too late. We should be working with the teams, ensuring that they don't have something, a photo holding them up. That's what leadership does. We, rather than saying, this person is, low efficiency, this person's that, like, we could do some level of like scorecarding, and I know Joey and his team, do some stuff like that, because we want to incentivize those that really kill it. But, outside of that, we're very much like, come in, let's make great product. Sometimes I think you get so deep into that stuff, you analysis yourself to death, and we want to back up and look at the big picture. Did the schedule get done today? And more? Were we able to take something, more on? Did you guys have fun? Great. Like we have a lot of like, this is what's important, like this is the mission. These 4 things are important, and if those 4 things are met, then we really don't care how we got there. Yeah. And I want to hire really talented, great people, get the hell out of their way and let them do great things, rather than be very focused on this efficiency and like, I look at numbers on or off track. If we're all on track, then you don't need my attention. If something is off track, I'm in the problem solving business. So I come help and I'll be a resource, and I'll hopefully be able to add value. Otherwise, you don't hear much from me.
Interesting. And when you set up a job and they're in the middle of a schedule, are they doing their own press approvals, or is that going back to the client? Is there a floor supervisor doing press approvals? How do you not tie up a machine because someone simply doesn't respond quick enough?
I think actually we're the culprit for that, to be completely frank. I know that we've had an effect on the industry with this high-res photo approval thing that, I don't, we've just made it a huge part of our business, unfortunately. And, I know that has just rolled out everywhere because I get blamed often for it. And, so it sucks, and oftentimes what else could you tell the client except for like, hey, can you get in touch with them because we need to approve this? But we try to do everything we can, give them a heads up. We're cognizant that if you're printing something in Florida and that client lives in California and it's 7 a.m., okay, then it's 4 a.m. in California. If they don't get back to you, you know why. So, we're very like, I would say professional in that manner. It's like, we're producing stuff on the East Coast in the morning, and then we move to the West Coast in that location. Same with Chicago. And, just give me a heads up. That's what the clients usually let me know when it's coming. And because of our level of capacity planning and scheduling, I mean, I could tell you on Friday at 7 a.m. on press 14, what order is going to be up. Now, will it move or whatever the case may be? I'm sure. But for the greater, broader scope, we know exactly what's going on. And, maybe Friday may even be a little long shot. It's 3 days away, but, at least 2 days, what's going to happen.
Wow. Yeah. And all those calendar tools and stuff are built inside of your own proprietary system. There is no third-party software.
Nothing. I actually have been, I've been, pushing Oscar to use something like, we build everything from scratch. And I'm like, why are we building that? Well, we could just utilize, messaging. Let's just utilize Slack. And he's always had the perspective that it's just native. We don't rely on anybody else. And we've just been native since the start. So, I don't know. I think there's all different perspectives on that. But, as far as our platform, everything we build is native to it.
Yeah. One thing I've been thinking about, like on the AI front and just working with people, I've seen a tool do something similar, but not. And I think this would solve so much like problem if somebody's listening to this and they could build this out. I think a lot of this come down to confidence, right? So your customer needs to have confidence that you're going to do what you promise. You as the leader that's running the business needs to have confidence in your people that they're going to do what they going to do. Your people need to have confidence in you, right? So imagine if there's like an AI tool that could like measure confidence level. Let's say a project, right?
I just lost Gavin. Did you
lose
him, Rich?
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Mexico.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, so think of like say an AI that could just measure confidence level. Like you just tell the AI, hey, this is what success is, right? And it's just like, for example, that camera that you talked about at the end, like it's measuring confidence level, right? Like I'm confident that this shirt is printed. Like imagine you could do that throughout your whole business, right? And that's like a ops tool or whatever that could just, and it'll be a little scary because like if you could show that to your customer, it's live on the internet. Hey, your jobs are like, I am that confident. Yeah. And your people are like, literally as an owner, you don't even need to be at your business. Like you could literally just watch your dashboard. Hey, I'm super confident. This customer's happy, stuff like that. I think that could be like, if somebody could do that, all small business needs something like this. Any small business that has people in it needs something like this, like where AI could just measure the confidence level.
Yeah, another tool, a principle of ours that, is on my board over here is remove uncertainty. Like that's the ultimate, like in the client services business that we're all in here, just remove uncertainty. And often that's the hard way.
Yeah.
The easy way is to duck and hide, right? But the hard route is to go in, remove uncertainty, and sometimes even deliver bad news. But still, bad news is removing uncertainty. Yeah. You're no longer uncertain what's going to happen. You now know the answer.
Yeah.
So, hey guys, I actually gotta run. We have a scheduled interview at 2:00. But I've really enjoyed this. Thanks a lot for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for being here. If there's anything you want people to know, let them know now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I enjoyed talking to you guys. Yeah, I look forward to hanging out again.
All right. Yeah. Thanks again. Bye. Gavin, tell me, what do you think was like the most amazing takeaway you got from this interview?
Yeah, this guy is a beast. He wants it all. He wants to be the number one player in the game. You could feel that. And he's playing at a super high level. Like he has a big team. He just wants it. Like and it was very inspirational. If that's the type of business that you want to run.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. He's got 130,000 something square feet. He's got 200 plus employees. I have no idea how many presses he's up to, and he's doing millions of units. It's an amazing conversation. So I hope you all enjoy. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your mom about us.